Hey y'all, welcome to Back Porch Cooking and Reminiscing. I'm Roger. Glad to have y'all here with us today. So today we're going to be making something that is a meal that my mother served many times over the years that I lived at home. And so I hope y'all will enjoy this recipe and that you'll try it out for yourself. So y'all loved our recipe for the salmon patties. And so today I'm going to show you another way to make that, but not using the salmon. We're going to use tuna. Now it's going to be made pretty much exactly like we did the salmon, but only using tuna and also making some macaroni and cheese and some cornbread and some broccoli and cauliflower and carrots to go along with it. Now for the macaroni and cheese and the cornbread, at the end of the video, very last 20 seconds of the video, I'll put a link on screen to go to our cornbread recipe and to go to our macaroni and cheese recipe. Now remember with those recipes, if you don't want to make that full thing, just cut it back to half, which is basically what I did today because I didn't want to make a huge batch of macaroni and cheese or a huge batch of cornbread. So just remember, last 20 seconds of the video, there'll be a link on screen that will be able to click on and go straight to those other videos. So let's get started making these tuna patties. All right, y'all. So what we've got here is 3 cans of Star-Kissed Chunk Light tuna, and 3 cans of it drained and mashed out to get all the water out of it. So we're going to use 3 cans. Now, depends on how many people you're feeding as to how many cans of tuna you're going to be using. So just, judge it by how many you're going to have. And if you need 4 cans or 5 cans, just go ahead and use that. All right. So now the first thing we're going to put in it is we're going to add some green onions to it. Now, I'm not going to saute these because actually we had bought several bunches of these and cut them up and put them in the freezer. So they're pretty tender. So I'm just going to dump them in there and not saute them. Now, if you're using regular onion, like white onion, yellow onion, you might want to saute it a little bit. But with these, I don't feel that we've got a necessity to do that. And so we're just going to kind of incorporate those in just a little bit. All right, and now we're going to put in, that's a good heaping tablespoon of mayonnaise. Now, I know we've got a lot of comments on that salmon video about the mayonnaise that people had never done that before, but we've always put mayonnaise in ours and tastes pretty good that way. It's just another fat to kind of help things not be quite so dry. All right, and then we're just going to kind of stir that in. Get it all incorporated. Bring it up from the bottom and just stir it all in. Basically, this right at this point is tuna salad. Um, but we're gonna make some good fried tuna patties out of it. All right, now we're gonna put an egg in, and these are eggs from my hens. We've got about 6 hens, and they've started laying pretty good now that the weather's starting to warm up a little bit. So we're gonna put us an egg in there. Let's go ahead and add our little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And then I'm going to put in a little bit of this, it's Merman's Revenge Blackened seasoning. Not going to go real heavy with it, but just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of flavor. All right. And now let's get that all stirred in. And now it's not tuna salad anymore, so we can't eat it just like it is. We get that egg and seasoning all incorporated in there. All right, and now we're going to add our cornmeal. I'm going to start off with a quarter cup of cornmeal and just kind of add it slowly. May wind up having to put a little more, or we may not wind up using all of this. So we'll see what we got. Put about half of it in, and then we'll stir that up. See where we're at. And y'all, as I said, my mother made these when I was growing up, and probably if she hadn't have told me, I would have never known that it wasn't salmon patties. But I think it tastes just as good and is just as filling as those are. All right, we're going to use a little more of our cornmeal. I'll go ahead and just use all of that. So we're going to use a quarter cup at least. We may come back and get some more. Who knows? We just have to see how it tightens up here with using this. It's looking pretty good. Starting to stick together pretty well. So I think that we may be in pretty good shape here. So I'm going to get me some gloves and we'll pat this out into patties, and we'll be ready to get started frying them here in just a few minutes. So we're ready to start making our tuna patties. So I got me a little bit of flour here, and I'm going to try this. I don't know that it's going to work or help any, but I'm going to put some flour on my hands, and hopefully that will help the tuna not to stick to the gloves so bad. So let's give it a try and see what happens. All right, so we're just going to pat them out into patties just like we would if we were doing hamburgers. And the flour on the gloves does seem to help. And now I'm just putting these over here to the side, and there is a reason why I'm doing it that way. And I will inform you about that in just a minute. But we're going to get these patted out first. Well, it looks like we're going to get us about 2 more out of this. So that kind of tells you or helps you judge if for how many you're feeding as to how many that you're going to need to cans of tuna that you're going to need to feed everybody that you're feeding. So we're going to get about 5 patties out of 3 cans, and this last one's going to be a really small one. Little piece of tuna there. All right, so that takes care of getting our patties done. And now we're ready to go on to the next step. All right, so now the next step is we want to get us a plate and put us a little bit of flour on it. And of course, y'all know I'm using the white lily flour. And didn't tell you, but for the cornmeal that I used in the tuna patties, of course, that was their white lily buttermilk cornmeal mix. And so, what we're going to do is I had taken, and the reason I put those tuna patties on the cutting board is that if you put those in the refrigerator for just a few minutes, it'll help them to firm up and be where you can handle them better. It gives the cornmeal and the egg time to bind together and everything, so that you don't tear your patties all to pieces when you're getting them out. So that's what we've been doing for the last maybe 8 to 10 minutes, is we've had those in the refrigerator. And so now we're about to take them out. We're going to put them in some flour, get them coated good in flour. We've got our cast iron skillet over here, our Lodge cast iron is over here heating up with some vegetable oil in it. And I know y'all are going to get on me about the vegetable oil, but that's what we've always used. So that's what I'm going to use. You can use whatever you want to. If you want to use olive oil, avocado oil, just whatever you want, that's fine. But again, we've always used vegetable oil. So that's what I got in here. All right, so let's get our patties out of the refrigerator and get them in this flour and then into the skillet. So we've taken our first one. I used that little one first just to make sure that I didn't have any problems. I put it in the flour. We just want to sprinkle a little flour on top of it and get it good and ready. And I believe our oil is good and hot. So we're going to get this one out and see what it looks like, and we're just gonna drop it in the oil. All right, now this part is a little messy. It's not as clean as everything else that we've done, but that'll be all right. A little bit of water will wash everything off, and we just want to kind of pat that down just to kind of make sure we get the underside coated. And you may have to use two hands to do this part. And into the fryer we go. And we're just coating them all down good with the flour. This makes them extra crunchy. And that's what we like, is for them to be extra crunchy. It ain't gonna be too long before we're ready to have something to eat. And one more left. All right, now we just let those cook until they get good and brown. And I'm gonna clean up my mess a little bit and we'll be back. So when you can look at the bottoms of them and you can see they're starting to brown good, then they're going to be ready to give them a flip. So let's see if we can do this without tearing them all to pieces. Oh yeah, that looks good. Just got to be quick. And one more. All right. Those are looking just like they should be looking. All right, so we're going to cook these on this other side and then we'll be ready to take them up. Well, we've got our tuna patties out of the skillet and they smell delicious. They look wonderful. So we're going to put us together a plate now and then we'll do some taste testing to see how everything is. I got us a plate made and we got our tuna patties, our vegetable medley, and our macaroni and cheese and cornbread. So I'm ready to give this a taste. So got me a good bite here on the fork and I can see some of the green onions and everything. So let's give it a try. Y'all, I'll tell you, tuna patties are pretty darn good. Uh, they're not mackerel or they're not salmon, but for tuna, mixing it up this way and cooking it, it cooks up really nicely. The outside's got a good crunch on it. You can taste those green onions, and uh, it's great. It's a quick meal. Doesn't take a long time to make this, and I think if you try it, you'll enjoy it. So y'all make it for your family, share it with your friends. Remember, hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a great one.